Alrighty everybody, today is a special day because it is finally D23 and we got a couple of announcements coming our way for, of course, the Star Wars universe and exactly what's coming to Disney Plus and everything related to Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni's plan to some extent. Now keep in mind that the real deal, the real major announcements will be done at Star Wars Celebration of 2023 in Europe. That's where they have pretty much the entire roadmap already planned out to be announced, and meanwhile today we're going to be learning a little bit more about some of the shows that are already planned out. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you also very much for the kind support, it is greatly appreciated. Now, as you all know, Kathleen Kennedy over the years has been really creating quite a ripple effect on the Star Wars fandom. I mean, there has been nothing but negativity driven by Kathleen Kennedy into the sequels, into the Kenobi series, into the Boba Fett series, and so on and so forth. Now, thankfully, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have creative power over the majority of Star Wars shows moving forward. They even took over 5 episodes of the Acolyte series, along with, of course, George Lucas calling the shots as well behind the scenes. They're not necessarily writing that show or even directing it, they're just telling Leslie Headland what to put in the show and what not to put in. So Skeleton Crew is the one Star Wars show that Kathleen Kennedy has full creative power over. Nobody else is actually coming in to, tell anybody what to do. This is all 100% a Kathleen Kennedy product. Now, that brings us to what Kathleen Kennedy recently had to say about, of course, something in particular related to that that's worrying quite a number of fans, and whether or not this is going to be a very negative and significant thing on the Star Wars fandom. Now, with both Disney and Lucasfilm getting ready for Favreau to begin writing The Mandalorian 4, after he is done with the storyboards, they are actively focused on regulating the Acolyte series for Disney+. It's described, however, that currently Kathleen Kennedy is still moving along with the Skeleton Crew series, where she recently was able to share some details on what her plan is for the show. Now, Kathleen Kennedy went on to state the following to the fans. "We have been having such fun filming Skeleton Crew with Jude Law. It has been one of the biggest challenges in my life with the Star Wars project, because we are going way past our limits to do something so original that's really going to change how fans view some of the characters that they grew up with. In the beginning, we had this idea for the show on exactly how could we change the perspective of some of the very well-known characters in the Star Wars universe that will be appearing in Skeleton Crew. How can we add in new changes to these characters that will give a different side to them? I can't really go into details of what characters we are going to be putting into Skeleton Crew, but I think fans will be surprised of what characters will appear and how we have this detailed structure on changing their core qualities that will absolutely alter how fans see these characters that they grew up with throughout the years." Now, I want to stop here for a quick second, because this is why fans are getting worried about what Kathleen Kennedy is saying here. We know 2 things about Skeleton Crew, and let's go over them really quick in about 30 seconds. Number 1 is that Skeleton Crew is going to feature Padawans or Jedi students that are lost in the galaxy trying to find their way back home. That's number 1. Number 2 is that we also know that it is official that it takes place after the events of Return of the Jedi. Alright? So those 2 qualities in the actual show, as Kathleen Kennedy later points out, is that it is going to be a Mandoverse era project featuring Jedi Padawans or Jedi students per se. So that really makes you wonder, if it's in a Mandoverse era, and it's featuring Jedi Padawans or Jedi students, this could very well be a story about Luke Skywalker's students that get lost in the galaxy, trying to find their way home. Hence, it's very possible that the familiar characters coming into play here could very well be Luke Skywalker, R2-D2, and other familiar characters from the original trilogy. There's a very big possibility. We know little to nothing about Skeleton Crew so far, as, we really don't know much beyond all of that. It's one of the tightest Star Wars productions, for a specific reason by Kathleen Kennedy, is because she's changing some of the core characters. Now that worries me, of course, and I'm sure it worries a lot of you out there. Now, of course, that brings us to the next thing that she has to say. Alright? She goes on to say, "It has always been in my interest to explore a specific time in Star Wars that we have never seen before. This does take place after Episode 6, but we are focusing on a completely different time than that of The Mandalorian, and I think fans and newcomers will absolutely love what we are doing. Deciding on what famous characters we wanted to actually bring into the show was also a struggle, and how we could change them in different ways was also one of the biggest challenges with the Star Wars series that I have had so far. Jude Law has been an amazing talent and will be the one character that will introduce the famous ones to all the fans around the world, and exactly how we are changing them is going to be completely recognizable in a matter of seconds. We wanted to make sure that it would not be vague in the slightest way at all." So, Kathleen Kennedy putting out there and making it very clear that these changes to the core famous characters are not going to be vague in any way, shape, or form. And it does make you wonder, is this Kathleen Kennedy's big endgame to essentially change Luke Skywalker in her own way, unlike with what Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are doing in a positive sense? It's very possible. Let's just put the pieces together for this puzzle here, is that, like I said before, number one, the show's going to feature famous characters. Number two, the show is actually taking place after Return of the Jedi. And number three, it's about Jedi Padawans. So what famous characters could they possibly put in if it's based in the Mandoverse era, and if it takes place after Return of the Jedi? You kind of get a very good idea that it's very possible that we're going to be getting original trilogy-oriented characters. Even Jude Law today in that Variety article went on to hint something that really connects to what Kathleen Kennedy said here, that when he was on set, he was overwhelmed with excitement of the familiar characters that he actually witnessed. That really makes you wonder, why would a character have such an impact on, a grown man about his childhood, right? It has to be some of the original trilogy characters. It's just gotta, given that it is a Mandoverse era project, it's after Return of the Jedi, it cannot be, prequel trilogy characters, really. It really is pointing toward the OT. So that's what's worrying a lot of fans right now, is that Kathleen Kennedy openly saying that she's going to be changing the core qualities of some of these famous characters, and how it's going to change our view of them. Now, if this were coming from Jon Favreau or Dave Filoni, I would be fine with that, because usually when they say things like, we're altering the characters or we're changing the characters, they're talking about, them evolving in a positive sense. When it comes to Kathleen Kennedy, I think that's when fans should be worried. Because look at what she did with Luke in The Last Jedi, and she said a very similar thing before Episode 8 came out by saying that we are going to be basically altering the character's personality. I mean, she openly said that we're going to be changing Luke Skywalker as a whole. And she's saying something very similar here with these famous characters. So we'll have to wait and see. We have yet to have seen a shred of footage. It's very hard to judge something when you can't really see it. But so far, this is a very mysterious project that is actually said to be Stranger Things in space. That's the overall theme. So overall, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys have to say about this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Night to moon, we hear them moans again.